What is your go-to karaoke song? Sing the song. Sing the song. You're on the worship team. You can do this.
I opened it on Christmas Day. It was a confirmation letter that I'm registered. And then he tells me, oh, and you have a class tomorrow at 12 p.m. Yes.
Day after Christmas?
The day after Christmas.
I don't know how I felt about that. I'd be like,
what are you trying to say?
What are you saying?
Yeah,
What are you saying?
Hey ladies, welcome to the I Am Her podcast with Pastor Lisa Kai. We are here at our Arise Vision and Vibes event, and we are so excited that you've joined us for our first episode of the year. We're about to jump into a panel discussion with Pastor Lisa and her friend Naomi Kraft. We're going to talk about vision and how to live intentionally. Comment down below on what your vision for 2025 is.
Thank you guys for coming. Today, like Evie said, we're going to do a panel discussion, and we are going to focus on vision and how we can be empowered through goals and having vision, and how we can just be better at it as moms, as daughters, as wives, and in the marketplace as well. And so we're going to have some questions. We're going to have fun. Is it okay if we have fun today, this morning? Okay, great.
Can you guys all hear? You sure? It's good?
If you want to scoot up, you can. Okay, cool. Nobody wants to, okay? So we're going to have some icebreaker questions first, just to get the jitters out, okay? I have two. The first one, we'll start with you, Naomi. What's one word or phrase that encapsulates your current vibe?
ooh, current vibe.
Mm-hmm. One word or phrase.
I'll say I'm down to earth. Is that okay?
Yeah, I like it.
Chill.
I need that. I need the chill. What about you, Pastor Lisa?
I think mine would be calm, consistent,
Yes.
solid.
Yes.
Yes.
Solid, she said. Yes. I agree. Okay, here's my dying question I've been wanting to ask.
Uh-oh.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
I'll tell you mine.
Ooh, go ahead.
Ladies' Night. That's the first song that came to my head.
That's a good one. Okay, so I have a few, but lately it's been Caught Up in the Rapture by Anita Baker.
Ooh.
I don't know that song, so give me a little sample. Do a little.
Let me see. Oh my gosh. It would be Amy Winehouse then, probably. What's her song?
No, I mean sing the song.
Oh,
sing the song.
Oh, what?
You're on the worship team.
Oh,
You
my
can do
goodness.
this.
Okay, how does the song go now? I can't think of it.
That's your go-to
I know,
karaoke song. You don't know the
but I have to
words?
see the words. You know when you're in karaoke, you see the words.
Help
right?
her out, because you guys were
Somebody
clapping. What's the words?
look it up and let's play
What's
it.
the words?
Look it up and
Yeah,
play
play
it.
it.
Caught up in the what?
When we met, I feel thee jigging me, and I have to have the words, guys. Caught up in the rapture of love. Yeah, there we go.
Thank you for being a
yeah,
good
yeah.
sport. Good sport. You ladies were not that helpful for her, but it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay.
I need the words.
Awesome. Okay, so like I said, we are talking about vision, and vision is so important. Pastor Mike always says, he brings up Proverbs, where there is no vision, the people perish, right? And so we're going into 2025. We want to have strong vision for our lives and for our family. And so, Pastor Lisa, I want to ask you, what inspired you to start your journey on living a more intentional life, and how did you know it was the right time to take that step?
Okay, so being more intentional, I would say when my youngest baby was 3 years old. I realized I did my mothering. I took care of her for the first 3 years, and I knew she was going to go to preschool. And so I thought, well, Lord, what is my next season? Because there's always a next season. You're never in the same season forever. In fact, I don't know how many seasons you're going to have in life, but this was a season that I knew I had to go to the next level in my leadership. And honestly, during that 3 years of really not living up to my leadership capacity was was hard for me. I knew I've been praying for Karis. We've been praying for 9 years to have Karis, and when she's here, I wanted to give her my full attention. But I knew that I had to be intentional for my next season, and so that's when I prayed. And when the Lord told me that I was going to work with women, I literally said, no, not women. Something else, Lord. Is there something else? And it was the women. And that's how Arise Women's was birthed. And honestly, I knew that this was the Lord. And when the Lord showed me that 10,000 women will be affected by this conference, and right now I think we're in our year 14, and I truly believe 10,000 women have been reached at this conference. And I think intentionality was, how long would I keep this vision going? Because honestly, this is our 14th year. How do you be intentional with women? And first of all, I couldn't lead a women's ministry, or I couldn't lead the women at this conference unless I was intentional about my own life. Because I'm one of those, I don't want to be a hypocrite. What I say, I do. If I'm going to lead by example, I had to figure out, well, Lord, what am I going to be intentional about this coming year? What am I going to be intentional about my next season? And like for me right now, my intentionality is to get physically healthier. I think I'm one of those, I can be skinny fat. You know what I mean? Like people think you look so good, and I'm like, no, I'm weak on the inside. And so I talked about it for a while. I said, yeah, I think I'm going to do Pilates. And, I kept saying I will. And guess what I got for Christmas from my husband?
A Pilates membership.
A Pilates membership.
Wow, he came through.
And
Get on Pastor Mike.
So I opened it on Christmas Day. It was a confirmation letter that I'm registered. And then he tells me, oh, and you have a class tomorrow at 12 p.m.
Oh,
Day after Christmas?
The day after Christmas, after I've eaten, all the mac and cheese, the mashed potatoes. But intentionality is sometimes somebody got to push you, and you need accountability to make sure that you will be intentional. Because if you keep it to yourself, if I kept it to myself about the women's ministry, I don't think it would have happened. If I kept this thing of trying to get healthy for my next season, and if I wasn't telling somebody, then I wouldn't be intentional, and I would have waited probably 6 months later before I even signed up for a Pilates class. So
That's true.
Good.
Yeah, I think accountability with that is so important when you're trying to be intentional. Talk about it with your spouse, talk about it with your connect group or your sisters. And once you say it, they're going to hold you to it.
Yes. And honestly, if you say it out loud to your connect group. So I remember telling the whole women's conference one year that I was going to do the marathon. And it's because I knew I had to do it at December. And the conference was in February. And I told everyone at the conference, I signed up for the marathon, everybody. And I knew that 3,000 women heard me, and I knew I had to finish the race. Yes.
And you did.
And
you did it well.
I did.
Oh, you're better than me, because if I would have said I want to do Pilates and I want to lose weight, and then my husband gave me that gift, I'd have been like, I don't know how I would have felt about that. I'd have been like,
what are you trying to say?
So what are you saying?
Yeah,
what are you saying?
So you agree with me that I need to lose weight?
That's so true. Okay,
Well,
Naomi, what about you? What inspired you to really start being more intentional?
Honestly, it was, I want to say, like, I really surrendered my life to God when I was like 22. And when I was just going to church, right? And then when I started to actually serve and get involved, then it was like leadership started to pour into me. And then I got invited to workshops and conferences. And I was in a ministry internship program for a year. And that's really where the intentionality came, because I started to read more like spiritual development books, more leadership books. And I learned that, hey, you've got to write the vision down, write your goals down, write your prayers down, and then come back to it and see what the Lord has done. And so when I started doing that, and then I would refer back to my journal, and I was like, wait, God answered those small prayers. Even though you think they're small and like non-important, I wrote it all down because I was a baby, right? And I was like, everything. I prayed for parking spots, y'all. Like, I prayed for, open lanes and things like that. And that's the type of faith that we still need to have, even no matter how seasoned you are. But I want to say that's where it started for me. Yeah.
That's good. And now here you are.
Here I
Devoted
am.
Dream Team member, married, getting all those parking spots. We love it. I want to know what happens when you don't get your parking spots or things don't go as planned that you wanted to be intentional about. What do you do and how do you stay focused on those goals when things are not going your way?
Oof. That's tough, right? Because I think my mindset is my plans are my plans, but God's plans are greater, right? So I don't hold on to things tightly so much. There is one thing that I did, and I think it's maybe too early to share that, but yeah, that's the main thing, is like just knowing that God's plan's greater. Like, I can set my path, but if something happens, then I just got to go back and be like, okay, Lord, is this you closing the door? Or is this just an obstacle that I have to like battle with the enemy or battle with my mindset, right? What is it exactly? So I just come back to Jesus and just try to get that clarity, really. Yeah.
I think with that question, this past year or this year hasn't even ended yet, but this past year, when things don't go the way you want it to go, like this is what you planned for, this is what you work hard you work hard for, and then it just doesn't look like it's just not working out. And I remember, as a parent or as a friend or as a leader, sometimes you feel like you have the power to make it happen.
Yeah.
Like I'll just make it happen, but God kept telling me, like for my daughter, that she will figure it out. She will figure it out. It's almost like God is saying, Lisa's going to figure this out. So and so is going to figure this out, because when you figure it out, now you've got this level of trust with the Lord because he walked you through it when it didn't look like it was coming through.
Right.
Yep.
And when that day
So good.
does come, you're like, wow, I don't think I would have done it that way anyway, or I didn't think it was going to turn out this way. So a lot of times you may have the plans, but it may not be in the timing of your plans to happen the way it's supposed to happen. And I think, I truly believe intentionality is your process. If you don't go through the process, whether it's a difficult process or whether it's an easy process, because either way, it's going to head you into that purpose and that direction and God's will for you. But it sometimes may look a little messy. It may feel a little muddy. Like walking through mud, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. Why is it so hard to get to the other side? But when you're intentional and you truly believe this is the Lord, then you just got to keep trusting the Lord. And you just got to still remain faithful. You still got to work as hard. You still show up.
Yep.
You still dive into the Word of God. You still worship Him. And to me, that's being intentional. Because honestly, God can perform any miracle. God can give you whatever He wants. But it's getting there that He looks at, that I truly believe, of how intentional are you? Will you draw near to me during those difficult times? Or will you trust me, or are you going to draw away from me?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think in the process we can get shaken, and our trust can be shaken, and we're like, okay, God, is it really you? And then we start to question everything. Okay, and in January 1st, 2025, this is what you told me, but now it's March and nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And we can start to question everything. And I want to know for you folks, what are some daily habits that keep you grounded and motivated when you start to feel a little shaken?
So I worship, right? So that is my place. I literally will get with the Lord and just lay at his feet. Honestly, just when I feel like sometimes I have seasons where I'm questioning the Lord. I'm wrestling with God about things he's told me or promises that I thought were mine, right? And I've had situations like everything that we write on our vision board, we want it to come to pass. If it's in God's alignment, it will, right? But some things are our wishes and not necessarily in his plan. And so there has been seasons where I've had to, like, for example, I want to be a mom. Like, that's something I've honestly desired forever and prayed for. People have prayed for me. I've, had it written down. I've tried it with fertility treatments. I've tried it naturally. I've given it to the Lord. And there just came to a point where we realized, this is not his plan for us. And that's okay. But that season was dark for me. Pastor Lisa knows I cried across the table with her saying, I'm clawing my way to Jesus,
Wow.
right? Like, I never left him. He never left me, but I felt alone in that season. But really, it was me just never letting go, right? Just never letting go. Like, yes, I was angry. Yes, I was hurt. But I'm like, okay. Then the Lord brought situations where we had to foster our nephew and niece, and he was a baby. And I worked out all my mom feels, into him. And God really showed us that I literally felt like head over heels over my nephew, like mom status. And the Lord showed me that biologically, maybe that child's not yours, but you can love that child. You can engraft them just like Jesus engrafted us into his family and his kingdom. He can give me a child that I can engraft into my family. And so he closed the door to one thing, but he opened my heart to another thing, right? And so, but for me, it was literally worship. It was just sitting at his feet, praying and asking, and just not, even if it's not the answer I want, still listening, still being open to hearing what it is his plan is. Yeah.
I think we all would do the same. We go on our knees, like trying to create a habit, like right when you wake up in the morning, instead of, we all grab our phone. Okay, let's admit it. We get our phone first. And what if we try to just get out of bed and just go onto the ground
So good.
and just kneel before the Lord? Because it's very quiet.
Yeah.
Okay. Your husband might not be in bed, or he might still be in bed, but it's okay. It's your moment to just acknowledge him, to thank him. And if you start off with thankfulness, thanking him, my God, Lord, I'm still alive. I'm still breathing. I'm healthy. I'm strong. I'm thriving. I have a great marriage. I have great girls. I have a great friendships. If you start thanking him from the get-go, your day would actually start off better. But when you're burdened with something, don't you feel like, geez, this is all I ever do is just pray for this one thing, and it hasn't changed. And sometimes maybe if you just a little change of prayer, just start with thankfulness, and God already knows. God knew.
Yeah.
God knew you desired a baby. God knew you desired something. And sometimes when it doesn't happen, it doesn't mean God wasn't there. He was always there. But if you would, I think for us, it's just opening our eyes, being aware that God is more than what you want. Yes, God is more than what you want. And God will fill those voids. God will fill those space that you wish, whatever your desires are. And so honestly, I think the key thing is draw near to him more than ever before. Like if you're one of those goal setters, okay, like to me, I told myself, I'm going to commit to Pilates for one whole year. Like, I'm not going to give up. So I have to schedule myself. And if you don't show up, you get charged. and I'm Chinese.
Oh, yeah.
I will not. I will use every penny.
I feel like every gym is doing that now.
Oh,
they're charging you.
They're charging because
Yeah.
they're hoping you don't show up, just like your gift cards. Just like your gift cards. You know how many gift cards are not being used? Or you leave like $5 left on the gift card. Imagine a million cards left $5 on the card. This is their way of making money. We should do that too.
We should do that.
So I think it's just, life, I like that passage on the vision, Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, people perish. And the thing that got to me was people will perish. When you think about vision, you think about the vision for your life. I think a lot of us, we aim into life aimlessly with no vision or clarity of your year. It could just be your year. It could just be your month. It could just be your week. Like, what would you like to see for yourself? Do you want a happier marriage? Okay, so what are you going to do? What are you going to start doing? What are you going to start changing about yourself so that you can have a better marriage? Instead of praying that he change, instead of praying that,
Come on.
or praying how disappointed that you are of him. Like this morning I prayed, I said, I'm thankful for a almost perfect husband. Because he's not perfect, but he's almost.
Yeah.
There's just a little bit that he could change. But without that little bit, I wouldn't be praying. And I wouldn't be challenged in my grace, in my love, right? So I don't want to perish. And I don't want you to perish. I want you to have hope. I want you to have life. I want you to have joy. And like I said, I'm in a season where I'm an empty nester, right? And it took a little transition for Mike and I, when it was just he and I at home. And I stopped cooking. I'm like, he doesn't need to eat.
He's on his own.
He'll figure it out. And but then I just had to realize, what is something that I need to see for myself? And for me, it's intentionality of friendships. Like I do have a great group of friends that I have coffee, I have lunch with, that I call last minute. I'm a last minute caller. And but I told myself I have to be more intentional about my friendships. Because my kids are now of age, they're married, they're busy, my last child will be married. Where is my intentionality? Where's the vision that God has for me? Is that I would actually start having fun. I should plan trips with some girlfriends. I should do something for myself. Because I deserve it. Not because, I'm the last one in the tier, budget was all budget for Mike and for the girls. And then me, I get the last part of the budget. But no, it's like, Lisa, you live a blessed life.
Right.
So why don't you walk in a blessed life?
It's good.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think part of being in the blessed life is having other sisters and other people around you.
Yeah.
And community is very important. And this actually leads to the next question. What does community and fellowship mean to you in the pursuit of your personal and professional goals?
So my husband and I are big on fellowship. Like if you know my husband, Paul, he's like Mr. Aloha. Okay. He's not even from Hawaii, but he is like the biggest Mr. Aloha, I swear. But we love fellowship. And we really truly believe in community because, where the Bible talks about a triple braided cord cannot be broken, right? So you have sisters in Christ. The enemy wants us to be isolated. There's nothing more that he wants than to have you isolated so he can feed you lies. He can bring up your past. He can bring up the things that you're not good at, all the things we battle with, right? But in community, you have your sisters that can tell you that's a lie from the pit of hell. Yep. You are more than a conqueror. You are the head and not the tail. You are wonderful and created for, Jesus created you. So it's so important, I think, to have people in your life that are not only your friends that are going to have your back, right, in all situations, but also to call you out on your stuff.
Yeah.
It's important, like, to have people say, "That, what are you doing?" You know, it's not going to be okay to have friends who are not in alignment with God, that are going to be like, when you're talking to them about your husband and how sick and tired of you are of him or whatever, you need friends to say, no, 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 sis, what are you doing to contribute to this situation?
Yep.
How can you be a better wife? How can you be a better woman and a mom and all those things? Instead of saying like, yeah, get rid of him. You don't need him. Let's go to Cabo. You know what I mean? So no, I think community is important. Being in the church is super important, because then you have like-minded people. Iron sharpens iron. You hear that all the time. So you can't just be with people who agree with you all the time. You need to have people who challenge you too and help you grow. Yeah.
In my position as a senior pastor, um, it gets kind of lonely, just FYI. And not many people have this role, which of course, right? But I do know that like my friend Courtney here, when I see her post, she's always with her girlfriends and they're doing fun things. They're all dressed up. And I'm like, oh, that looks so fun. I wish I was invited.
You're going to get 50
I
invitations.
know. But I think sometimes when you feel like you're alone, it doesn't it honestly, sometimes it is lonely up there.
Yeah.
You know, and people think you're always busy, you're always, doing something, and it's true, but I still need community.
Yeah.
So instead of me waiting for community, I go out and get community.
Yeah.
I go out, I get to choose who I want to do community with. And sometimes I think I won't be embarrassed to say, hey, Courtney, when you go out next time, I want to come. You know what I'm saying? I know Courtney won't tell me no. In fact, none of you would tell me no unless you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. But
That part.
But honestly, you have to go and seek community.
Yeah.
Don't do that high school thing, or don't do that junior high thing. You see all these groups of girls and you just want to be a part of them. Invite yourself into that group.
Yeah.
These are Christian ladies. They're not going to ignore you. They're not going to deny you fellowship. They're not going to deny you. They're not going to look at you like, I don't know if you fit this group.
Right.
If they treat you like that, walk away and do the hand, do the hand thing. But I think we're adults. I think we're like-minded people.
Yeah.
We know what community is. So don't be afraid to just jump into any community. Come to, we've had so many women come to the Rise conference by themselves. And sometimes when I ask someone, hey, who are you with? Oh, I'm actually by myself. And I already automatically will connect them to someone to sit with.
Yeah.
So if we would all do that and look at everybody that is coming into your community, that you would be aware of that one girl, that one woman that is probably by herself, and just go and invite her into your community.
So good. Yeah.
But the crazy ones, I know. So don't be the crazy ones. And don't be the one that talks so much. There was a lady in my Pilates class, because none of you were in my class this morning.
Right? No.
Oh my gosh. She was on the other side of the room and I could hear her. She's just like, ha, 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 like, and when she's in pain, she's like, oh my gosh. And I'm here going, zip your lips. We're trying to focus here. We're trying to have balance here. And I told myself, I'm staying far away from that girl.
That would be me in your Pilates class.
Yeah, okay.
But
I'm not going to tell you where I take my
Yeah,
Pilates.
no, I will not take Pilates with you. I will go to a different one. Okay, to close, this is our last question. What advice do you have for the women here today who feel uncertain or overwhelmed about the purpose of their vision for the future?
when you look at something so big, sometimes we can be overwhelmed by it, right? So my advice would be to just take it backwards plan, sort of like take it in smaller goals. And that way you hit that goal. You're like, okay, I feel accomplished. I did this, right? And you can keep attacking it little by little. That'd be one thing. Also, I would say be kind to yourself. Recognize that your doubt might creep in, and you might question things, but that's part of the process. But if you just continue to just lay your plans before the Lord, He's gonna work it all out, right? He's gonna work it all out for your good. And I would say don't fear so much. Like God didn't give us a spirit of fear, So make your plans, go forward until God tells you something different.
I have a quote here from Helen Keller, and she says, okay, do you guys know who Helen Keller is? She was the blind woman. She says, the only thing worse than being blind is having sight, but no vision.
Ooh, that's good.
We all can see and we all can thrive. Have some vision for your life. Have a 3-month vision. Have a 6-month vision. Have a year vision. Have something. What are you working towards? Okay. Every time the new year comes, we feel refreshed. We feel like we can begin again. We feel like we can start up again. We can say, well, this is something I had put on the back burner. I think I need to bring it in this year and I need to accomplish it.
Yeah.
So what is going to take to get you to accomplish that one goal that you have always wanted to accomplish? And I need you to think about that because you have vision. God does give you vision for your life, and it's not selfish. It's not a selfish thing to want this or want that for your life. God created us to have the abundant life that we all are are honored to have because of Jesus. We are his sons and daughters, and God just wants to bless us. And of course, don't perish. Like I think there's one thing that when I came into this podcast and this conversation was, don't perish. Don't perish. When you lack vision, you will perish. You're just gonna fade away. And I know some of you guys know my dad. He had esophagus cancer last year. He's gone through surgery, and now he's good. He's in a care home. He's not having any complication, but he lost vision. He lost vision to the point where he doesn't want to do nothing. He sits there. He has legs, but he doesn't want to walk. He doesn't want to get up. He doesn't even want to eat. We have to feed him just to give him all so I'm just saying, you have a life, you have breath, you have arms, you have legs, you have eyes, you can do something. So don't perish because you have many days ahead of you. Some of you got 80 years left. No, 70. Some of you have 20. Some of you you never know.
Right.
Tomorrow's not promised.
How
either.
are you going to live out your days? How are you going to live out the week? How are you going to live out the month? Intentionality. Like I have to fight for intentionality. I have to fight for vision. I have to fight. You have to fight. And you have to tell your spirit, get up.
Yeah.
Every single day, tell your spirit, get up, get dressed, and be on your way.
Wow.
Some of you need to put some lipstick on. Right?
Call it my personality.
Yes. Look at her. She's colorful. I'm black and white. But yeah, so can I just encourage all of you is have some kind of vision for your life and don't perish. Okay? Because there's so much that God has for you still. There's no age limit. Okay? Your last breath on earth will be your first breath in heaven. What will you do with your last breath? Are you just going to just let it perish? Or are you going to live up to your last breath just like my girlfriend Tisha did? Okay, many of you who knew my friend Tisha, her last breath, she was just smiling and she knew where she was going. She lived till her last day of breath, encouraging others. Literally, every nurse that came in, hey, beautiful, thank you for shooting me up some morphine. You know, she was just always smiling and encouraging everyone else. Like, I had to tell her, can you stop, Tisha? Just be okay with yourself. You're good, Tisha. And when I told her, it's okay, we are going to carry on your legacy. Okay, so be like Tisha till the last breath on earth. Give it all that you got, because there's so much more vision for each and every one of you.
Wow, wasn't that an amazing discussion? Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget, we have Arise Conference 2025 next month. You can register at ariseconference.tv.
We don't understand what's on us. And what's on us is the favor of God. God favored you with wisdom, favored you with influence, favored you with knowledge. And it's only because of the favor of God. There's nothing like the favor of God.
That's what I feel like God is saying. You better come and meet me, Becca. You better come and enter the silence. You better come and open your Bible. You better know that the worst is never the worst, because I've got you. I've always had you. I am your peace. I am your joy. I am your love. That no matter what you go through, Becca, you know that the worst is never the worst. Why? Because you've got me inside of you.
You see, when you start to begin to connect the dots, that sunset was on display so that you would have an awareness of God. God planned this all along, that He created humanity, that He knit you together in your mother's womb, that no matter the situation and circumstances are, that it is that you ended up on this earth so that you would have a purpose in this life.
I'm telling you, the power is shifting. The power is shifting. I believe right now, the church, prophets of God, those who carry the voice of God are coming out of their cave, and they're going to start to stand in their full authority and station again. This world has need of your voice. We are salt, we are light, we are called to be culture shifters, not culture conformers.